Hello and welcome to the second episode of Ableton Live. Today we're going to talk about latency and we're going to fix this issue right away. So let's go in here to options and we go down to settings. And as you can see here, I got the ACO driver for my Focusrite. First, when I installed my Focusrite, I had some other settings. I downloaded the drivers and I had the ACO option, but it didn't work correctly. So later I learned that I had to download the ACO driver for Focusrite specifically. So what you can do is you can go to Google, and I've already come in here, but if we back up a bit, so you Google Focusrite ACO driver, you go into the first link, and then you can choose what you have. So in my case, I got the Scarlett Virgin, and I think I have the Scarlett Solo Studio. So you just click that, and you choose what you have here. I got the Windows, and then you just download. So you make sure that you have the ACO driver, because that's going to change things in a major way with your latency. By the way, if you're kind of a beginner or intermediate, you should buy the Focusrite interface, because every tutorial on YouTube is about the Scarlett Rite. So if you want to be in the community, or let's say if you want to learn things easy, just buy that one. It got built-in phantom power, so you can just plug in a condenser microphone. You can plug in guitar, no problem. Just push the phantom button and you're set. You're good to go. I still get thousands of views every year on my UX1 tutorial. I can show you that here. We go to my channel and we scroll down to the UX1 tutorial. You can see I get 14,000 views, so I get approximately 1,000 views every year on this one. But you can see here it got an extra device just for the phantom power. So the Focusrite is just too easy to skip out on. So in any case, let's pull this down, and we got the ACO driver here. Check. Before I downloaded the ACO driver, it could look like something like this. So if we just take the DirectX, so when you downloaded your Focusrite drivers, you might have seen this one, which is just total crap in my opinion, because you have to draw this sample rate here to get the exact buffer size, and it's just problems. It's so annoying, and it's wrong, and it's so slow. It's just a pain to do. So skip this whole thing and just go with the ACO driver. Make things easy. That's the point. Your job is to mix and produce music. Your job is not to fix all these issues. So download the ACO driver, then you go to hardware setup, and in here you can choose the sample rates that fits your PC's capacity to not lag too much. So I usually have it on 48,000, but in this case it's on 44,000 somehow. So we're going to go with that, 44,000, 512 in buffer size. That's what usually works for a decent computer. I mean, if you have a standard computer, or if you built one yourself for a decent amount of money, not too much, I would say you would land on 512 in buffer size. If you can go lower, you can test it out, 256. That will work better. The lower you go, the better it will work. So the lower you go, the less latency you will have. But usually 512 is the way to go. Better budget PCs, of course, they can go lower because that's more money spent. But if you are a middle class person, maybe you're a student, maybe you just have a regular job and you're just doing this for a hobby, then your PC will probably do fine with 512. Okay, that's a long rant. So, yep, that's that about the buffer size. And if you see here, you get the buffer size here at 512, and then you get input latency. Now I got 24, and output latency 26, and the total latency is 50.5. So that's kind of a lot already, but we can work with that. And so then you can just click this down, and now I will show you that the plugins you get, if you want just low latency, go with the stock plugins or instruments or any effects and everything in Ableton. Because if you download a random plugin, of course you should be able to do that because it's your music and you have your own way to produce. So just go ahead and try out some other plugins. But just for the efficiency side of things, you can go with the stock plugins. And if we draw in here an instrument, let's say we get the drum set here. If you hover over the name of the plugin here or the instrument, you can see in this little box here, if we zoom in, so if I hover back here, you can see it's 4.4 milliseconds, and that adds up. So for every instrument and plugin you got, there comes latency. So this 4.4 in latency will add to your, if we go in here to options again, your overall latency. So our 50.5 milliseconds is plus 4.4 for the drum kit here. And then you got reverb, you got more stuff going on, so things add up, just so you know. And if you have a random plugin from another third party, that can add up pretty quickly. Now I want to talk about CPU usage, because if you use plugins and VSTs and all that, it can take a lot of load from your CPU and things can start to lag, and with lag comes delay. And what you can do about this, what I've done is that I've put in more RAM storage, because that helps out a ton with your CPU. So in my case, I have the Contact 7 for guitar, maybe. And if we remove this, delete, and we go to our plugins, and I have Contact 7 here. Fuck. We drag that in, delete that again, drag that into a MIDI track, and here I got some instruments here. And if we click up the guitar again, this whole thing, this window, takes a lot of CPU and RAM. But when I had like 32 gigabytes of RAM. So that's already much, but it still lagged a ton. So I put in 32 more. And now if we go up here to CPU, you can see it's barely 1%. And if I want to, if I'm going to explain this in a simpler way, I have prepared something here. So if we take this map and this map, so let's pretend that this file here, or this map on the left side, is your CPU. No, sorry, it's your hard drive. And this here on the right side is your RAM memory. This might not be 100% correct, but it's just the essence of it. So here you got your hard drive, and if it's an HDD drive, it's gonna be slow. It's the best thing with the HDD drive is that it's cheap, so you can buy a lot of storage for a small amount of money. But if we got here file 1, file 2, a bunch of files, and you're going to pull forward a plugin from this hard drive, your CPU is going to search between all the files here, and if you get an HDD drive, that's going to take some time. SSD drives are faster, but you still got the problem. So what the RAM does is that you take the RAM, search for the plugin you want, so we got plugin 1 here, and then it pulls that out and temporarily stores your plugin to the RAM. So now your CPU can just check the RAM and pull forward the plugin. So here you get one file to search for and no other files, and in your hard drive you got a bunch of files and just one plugin you search for, and that's gonna take some time. So yeah, so I had to put some clothes on. It's cold down here in my studio. So this next thing I want to show you is the freeze track. And so what you do is you just right click here on your recording track or audio track, and then you go down to freeze track. And what this does is that it creates a temporary file. So you got your recording, your voice or guitar, and you got your plugins, and the sound that comes after. So you sing into your mic, it goes through all the plugins, and then there becomes a sound, and that sound is temporarily stored. So when you freeze the track, your CPU does not have to read the information from all these plugins plus the audio. It reads from the finished sound after, which is stored in a temporary file. And in that case, the plugins can be turned off during the recording, but you still have the effects on your audio. So that's a smart thing. And after you have recorded, you just right click again and you unfreeze your track. And this can be useful when you got a bunch of tracks and many plugins and so on that uses a lot of your CPU capacity. So that saves a lot of capacity on your CPU. And the next thing I want to show you is when you record. So here I got the audio track, and I have written here any recording. And what I usually do, and this is not my idea, everybody that records use this little trick. So I duplicate, and then I press record on both of these, and I have one set to auto, which makes me hear all the plugins I got, and on the other track I just turn everything off, so your CPU doesn't have to read all the plugins on your second track here. So when we try to record, let's do that. So let's grab this guitar, and I have prepared a little drum beat here, so let's just press record. Okay, so that wasn't exact, but just for showing you. Let's hang that back there, and now we can zoom in. So let's zoom in, and you will see these are the same. Usually when you record like this, the track that is set to off is recorded correctly, and the track with all the effects on have latency, so it's going to be like this. I'm just gonna drag that there, and it's gonna be like that. So then you can just delete the first one, and you can also delete your first track, and then you can put on the effects by clicking auto. So that's one way to do it. And if we duplicate this again and turn the second one off and so on, we can press on this arrow here down at the arrangement, or sorry, session view bottom. So you got one session view up here, and you also got it down here. So if we press that little grayed out arrow, we can click on this track options, and if you see here, there's, yeah, this is what we got. And when we press the track options, we get the keep latency. So right now keep latency is turned off, and that's why we recorded equal here. It could also be because we don't have any plugins in right now, but usually when it's turned off, we record correctly. And if we turn it on, so let's do that, and we can try to record once again. So let's do like that. Let's see here. So if we zoom in now, let's see what we have. Now you can see I was quite wrong last time because it didn't push this way, it pushed the other way, of course, because we have latency. So you see the track where we turned everything off, that one is correct, and the other one has latency, and if we're going to keep that, we have to move it backwards. So if we zoom in, we're going to have to move this so it fits, or we can just delete this track and then duplicate it if we want to duplicate, or just keep it as it is, and we set it to auto again. But now we can note that if we go to this arrow here and we have the track options on, it says keep latency, and what it does is that it's supposed to sync your recorded audio to the rest of your track, the rest of your instruments and so on. But here's the issue. When we got the direct monitoring on our Focusrite, the keep latency is supposed to be off, because if you direct monitoring, you will hear your instrument and the audio goes through the mic directly to your interface and then to your ears, and not through your plugins. That's why you can hear yourself as you sing or as you play correctly. So you don't need to put any more latency correction on that, because that's just gonna add latency to your track and it messes everything up. So if you have direct monitoring on your interface, as the picture on the screen here, you will have the keep latency off, turned off. And if you don't have the direct monitoring on your interface, then you would like to keep the latency button on. Okay, so just a side note here, you see this text, never do this. Never turn the gain knob of your mic or your guitar over the middle, because then it will start to clip or distort the sound. And if your mic is sensitive and you have this knob turned too much to the higher end of things, then the sound will collapse and your mic will temporarily not record your instrument or voice. So keep that in mind, keep it in the middle or lower, and it will turn green and it's good to go. Yep, but that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learned some tips and tricks, and I'm sorry for it being so long, and maybe I stumbled through a little, but that's okay, I guess. So yeah, I see you in the next tutorial.